Hey, good peeps, it's Monday and I'm back. Remember, the new schedule is Monday through Friday. I'll take the weekend off. That gives you time to catch up if you didn't. I'm Tracy Lene and I am still in the 4 agreements, but soon we'll be starting the 5th agreement, which I'm really excited about. I would love it, of course, if you like this video, if you subscribe to my channel, and if you would share. So let's get started. We remember the 4 agreements, and just in case you don't, the first agreement, be impeccable with your word. The second agreement, don't take anything personal. The third agreement, don't make any assumptions. And the fourth agreement is to do your best at everything. So we get started here. We have a dysfunctional dream of the planet, and humans are mentally sick with a disease called fear. The symptoms of the disease are all the emotions that make humans suffer: anger, hate, sadness, envy, and betrayal. When the fear is too great, the reasoning mind begins to fail, and we call this mental illness. Psychotic behavior occurs when the mind is so frightened and the wounds are so painful that it seems better to break contact with the outside world. If we can see our state of mind as a disease, we can find that there is a cure. We don't have to suffer any longer. First, we need the truth to open the emotional wounds, take the poison out, and heal the wounds completely. How do we do this? We must forgive those we feel have wronged us. Not because they deserve to be forgiven, but because we love ourselves so much, we don't want to keep paying for injustice. I'm going to say that again. We must forgive those who we feel have wronged us, not because they deserve to be forgiven, but because we love ourselves so much we don't want to keep paying for the injustice. Forgiveness is the only way to heal, and that is the shown of truth. Forgiveness is the only way you will heal. You can say, they don't deserve to be forgiven. You want to be forgiven for the things you do, don't you? So forgive them. Forgiving them does not mean they won't get the consequence for their actions. It just means you've detached yourself from it. It does give them some grace and mercy, though, and we all deserve grace and mercy. I know what they did was wrong and trifling and low down and no count, and you just can't even imagine. But if you can say, I'm willing to forgive, that's the first step. I'm willing to forgive this. I'm open to forgive this. I think that will allow you to eventually one day get to the forgiveness, because as long as you hold on to that, it's yours. And then the thing is, as long as you, and some people say, well, I don't forgive them, but I don't think about them. Come on, that's just not the way this works. It just really doesn't. When you release it, and the forgiveness is the way to release. We can choose to forgive because we feel compassion for ourselves. We can let go of the resentment and declare, that's enough. I will no longer be the big judge that goes against myself. I will no longer be Judge Judy in other people's lives. I will no longer beat myself up and abuse myself. I will no longer be the victim. As long as you say, you did this to me, how could you do this to me? Then you are in the place of the victim. And victims always just get more stuff to be victims about. So let it go. They're not going to get away with it, just like you may not get away with some of the things you've done. We love to judge other people for their wrongs and act like our wrongs just somehow should go into the sea of forgetfulness, because, God understands. Only God knows my heart. That's what we say. Only God knows my heart. Well, only God knows their heart too. Okay? First, we need to forgive our parents, our brothers, our sisters, our friends, and God. Once you forgive God, you can finally forgive yourself. And that is the show enough truth. I had to forgive God. I had 2 stillborns, and there was somebody that I knew that was having a baby who, in my opinion, shouldn't be having that child, because it was not in the way that you should have children, because the man she was having the child with was married, and I couldn't understand, why would God let her keep her baby and take my baby? I was mad at God. Oh, I was pissed. I was the highest level of pissosity at God for letting that girl gets to keep her baby and I don't get to keep mine, and I'm married. This is my husband. I'm supposed to have babies with him. How dare you, God? I was angry. And I was angry for a minute. And then one day in the middle of the night, it was around 3 a.m., the mercy that I felt for myself, the anger just like subsided. I deserve to give myself mercy. And I got up, I wrote out forgiving my mother, my father, everybody. And then I said, and God, I got to forgive you. And I can tell you, once I felt like I forgave God, I literally felt the forgiveness for myself come. And I was able to, one, let that go and not judge somebody else's situation and say what God will and will not. What I know is that sperm and egg meet and it makes a baby, period. So when you have sex, you may have a baby. Once you forgive yourself, the self-rejection in your mind is over. Self-acceptance begins, and the self-love will grow so strong you will finally accept yourself just the way you are. That is the beginning of the free human. Forgiveness is the key. You will know you have forgiven someone when you see them and you no longer have an emotional reaction. For me, I get like this thing in the pit of my stomach and I feel like I have to go to the bathroom, but it's really not the bathroom. I get like crampy because I'm not forgiving them, or my heart starts to race fast when I see them. When I would see that person, that doesn't happen anymore. So I know I'm done. I'm over it. I'm forgiven. I'm a boss. You will hear the name of the person and you will have no emotional reaction. When someone can touch what used to be a wound and it no longer hurts you, then you know you have truly forgiven. That's the same with when you have people in your life, and they're in your life because they are what we call key people, but they know how to push your buttons. When you deactivate the buttons and they try to push it and they realize this ain't working, they're steadily trying to push and it's not working, man, that's a good feeling. You're like, you're trying to push buttons that don't exist anymore. You're an idiot. When someone, okay. The truth is like a scalpel. The truth is painful because it opens all of the wounds which are covered by lies so that we can be healed. These lies are what we call the denial system. It's a good thing we have a denial system because it allows us to cover our wounds and still function. But once we no longer have any wounds or any poison, we don't need to lie anymore. We don't need the denial system because a healthy mind, like healthy skin, can be touched without hurting. It is pleasurable for the mind to be touched when it is clean. Sometimes you get in a relationship with someone and they're not healed from somebody that they were in a relationship with. They just denied it. They ended the relationship because maybe there was some fuckery or something they didn't like and they ended it. And then they get with you and you think, well, you know, that was over. They're with me. But they just are denying it. And then something comes about and it brings it back up. I was in college and I think I told y'all some of the story about the guy. He got back with his woman. They were high school sweethearts and they broke up because she cheated on him. And they ended up getting back together, but he thought he had moved on. He was trying to just like deny it. And he's got with me and he said he was interviewing wives. He wanted, not wives, plural, but he was looking for his wife and he was dating with a purpose. And I thought that was good because I'm dating with a purpose now too. We ended up obviously not working out. But the thing I remember the most is I didn't stand a chance because his heart still belonged to her. And even though he wasn't willing to admit that, that's exactly what it was. He was in denial and he just put it in the back of his mind in denial when literally, you know, she still had his heart. So anyway, they ended up getting back together. I think I told you guys I saw them like years later when they had like 100 children and she was homey as hell. But anywho, it was still good. It let me know that sometimes you can be the placeholder for someone. It doesn't make that person a bad person. It doesn't make me like not good enough. It just means that I wasn't for them. That's another thing. It's not that you're not good enough for a person. You're not what they need. Okay, that's it. You may not be what they need, but it doesn't mean you're not good enough. The problem with most people is that they lose control of their emotions. It is the emotions that control the behavior of the human, not the human who controls the emotions. When we lose control, we say things that we don't want to say and do things that we don't want to do. That is why it's so important to be impeccable with our word and to become a spiritual warrior. We must learn to control the emotions so we have enough personal power to change our fear-based agreements, escape from hell, and create our own personal heaven. How are we to become a warrior? There are certain characteristics of the warrior that are nearly the same all around the world. The warrior has awareness. That is very important. We are aware that we are at war, and the war in our minds requires discipline. Not the discipline of a soldier, but the discipline of a warrior. Not the discipline from outside to tell us what to do and what not to do, but the discipline to be ourselves no matter what. The warrior has control. Not control over another human, but control over one's own emotions. Control over one's own self. It is when we lose control that we repress the emotions, not when we are in control. The big difference between a warrior and a victim is that the victim represses and the warrior refrains. Victims repress because they are afraid to show their emotions, afraid to say what they want to say. To refrain is not the same thing as a repression. To refrain is to hold emotions and express them in the right moment, not before, not later. That is why warriors are impeccable. They have the complete control of their own emotions and therefore over their own behavior. The initiation of the dead, embracing the angel of death. The final way to obtain personal freedom is to prepare ourselves for the initiation of the dead, to take death itself as our teacher. What the angel of death can teach us is how to be truly alive. We become aware that we can die at any moment. We have just the present to be alive. The truth is that we don't know if we're going to die tomorrow. Who knows? We have the idea that we have many years in the future, but do we? If we go to the hospital and the doctor tells us that we have 1 week to live, what are we going to do? As we have said before, we have two choices. One is to suffer because we're going to die and to tell everyone, poor me, I'm going to die, and really create a huge drama. The other choice is to use every moment to be happy, to do what we really enjoy doing. If we only have 1 week to live, let's enjoy life. Let's be alive. We can say, I'm going to be myself. No longer am I going to ruin my life. No longer am I going to run my life trying to please other people. I think it's supposed to be wrong, but it says wrong. No longer am I going to run my life trying to please other people. No longer am I going to be afraid of what they think about me. What do I care what others think? If I'm going to die in 1 week, I'm going to be myself. Yeah, the other day I had to run to the bathroom. I had to urinate really bad. And when I went in the bathroom, there was a woman in there, and she obviously was having some stomach issues, but she kept trying to hold it. Now, she don't know me. You're in the other stall. And I thought, this woman doesn't know me, but she's concerned with me hearing her poop. And after I finished peeing, I had to, of course, wash my hands, and she was still like letting it out a little bit at a time. And I thought, how interesting that this is what we do. I am a stranger to her. She can't even see me, but she is so concerned about me hearing her have whatever's going on with her stomach that she's holding it until I get out of the bathroom. So I decided to be petty and go real slow washing my hands. I knew that was wrong, but I was like, she doesn't even know me. She's in a stall. And so eventually she couldn't really much hold it. And then I thought, I don't want to smell this. Why am I being so petty? So I left. But it just reminded me of just how we're so concerned with what other people think about us that we will hold our poop knowing we need to let that stuff go. What was that? The angel of death can teach us to live every day as if it is the last day of our lives, as if there may be no tomorrow. We can begin each day by saying, I am awake, I see the sun. I'm going to give my gratitude to the sun and to everything and everyone because I am still alive. One more day to be myself. I don't say that exactly, but I do say, oh my God, I'm alive today. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Such gratitude for opening my eyes. Such gratitude for having a roof over my head. Everybody's well. I'm so, so grateful. And then I start the day. I always, now that I've been introduced to Michael Singer, I always say, I'm just ready to explore this day. Let's see what this day holds. I'm just so excited I get to be me on this day. That's what I try to do. That is the way I see life. That is what the angel of death taught me, to be completely open, to know that there is nothing to be afraid of. And of course, I treat people I love with love because this may be the last day that I can tell you how much I love you. I don't know if I'm going to see you again, so I don't want to fight with you. I want to start doing that with people too. And I'm going to say, hey, I don't want to fight with you because I don't know. This could be the last time we see each other. I don't want it to end in a fight. Then they'll feel all guilty, like, oh my God, you make me feel bad. So it's kind of petty, kind of manipulative. What if I had a big fight with you and I told you all those emotional poisons that I have against you and I died tomorrow? Oops. Oh my God, the judge will get me so bad and I will feel so guilty for everything that I told you. I will even feel guilty for not telling you how much I love you. The love that makes me happy is the love that I can share with you. Why do I need to deny that I love you? Is it not important? It is not important if you love me back. I may die tomorrow or you may die tomorrow. What makes me happy now is to let you know how much I love you. You can live your life this way. By doing so, you prepare yourself for the initiation of death. What is going to happen in the initiation of death is that the old dream that you have in your mind is going to die forever. Yes, you're going to have memories of the parasite, of the judge, the victim, and what you used to believe, but the parasite will be dead. That is what is going to die in the initiation. That is what is going to die in the initiation of death, the parasite. That sky looks like it's about to open up. It is not easy to go for the initiation of death because the judge and the victim will fight with everything they have. They don't want to die. And we feel we are the ones who are going to die, and we are afraid of this death. When we live in the dream, of the planet, it is as if we are dead. Whoever survives the initiation of the dead receives Whoever survives the initiation of the dead receives the most wonderful gift, the resurrection. To receive the resurrection is to arise from the dead, to be alive, to be ourselves again. The resurrection is to be like a child, to be wild and free, but with a difference. The difference is that we have freedom with wisdom instead of innocence. We are able to break our domestication, become free again, and heal our mind. We surrender to the angel of death, knowing that the parasite will die and we will soon and we will still be alive with a healthy mind and perfect reason. Then we are free to use our own mind and run our own life. That is what in the Toltec way the angel of death teaches us. The angel of death comes to us and says, "You see, everything that exists in here is mine. It is not yours. Your house, your spouse, your children, your car, your career, your money, everything is mine. And I can take it away when I want to. But for now, you can use it." I've been saying, I got to do more with this loner life I got, because all it is a loner. I'm going to have to give it back one day, so I want to use it up the best I can. If we surrender to the angel of death, we will be happy forever and ever. Why? Because the angel of death takes away the past in order to make it possible for life to continue. For every moment that is the past, the angel of death keeps taking that part that is dead, and we keep living in the present. The parasite wants us to carry the past with us, and that makes it so heavy to be alive. When we try to live in the past, how can we enjoy the present? When we dream of the future, why must we carry the burden of the past? When are we going to live in the present? That is what the angel of death teaches us to do. Now we're going to stop here and start tomorrow with the last day. Yeah, it's not that many. That's not that much. The new dream, heaven on earth. So that fifth agreement, yeah, I'm looking really forward to getting that book started. But we have at least another day. And there's some prayers in here. Remember the 4 agreements: be impeccable with your word, speak with integrity, say only what you mean, avoid using the word to speak against yourself, to gossip about others, use the power of your word in the direction of truth and love. The second one, don't take anything personal. Nothing others do is because of you. What others say and do is a projection of their own reality, their own dream. When you are immune to the opinions and actions of others, you won't be the victim of needless suffering. 3, don't make assumptions. Find the courage to ask questions and to express what you really want. Communicate with others as clearly as you can to avoid misunderstandings, sadness, and drama. With this one agreement, you can completely transform your life. Always do your best. Your best is going to change from moment to moment. It will be different when you are healthy as opposed to sick. Under any circumstances, simply do your best and you will avoid self-judgment, self-abuse, and regret. Staying in the present moment will require you to utilize these constantly, and it'll keep you in the present moment. I'll be 56 in a few days, and lots of people my age are always saying things like, when I was younger, we didn't do this, and something negative about what the young people are doing now. And I say to them sometimes, and when we were younger, people our age now said the same thing about us. Let's cut them some slack. And let's allow them to be free to be who they are, because you get to be who you are. You don't have to judge anybody else. Living in the past is talking about, the good old days. I want the good old now. The now moment. That's what's good. Good old now. The good old now moment when I get to be Tracy. I get to be free. I get to love myself unconditionally. And I get to do the things I want to do, because you can do it too. But the first thing we've got to do is to forgive everything, and just say, you know what? I'm forgiving it all and setting it free, because it's not doing anything for me but holding me back and making me look old and giving me funky breath. Do you ever notice that really bitter people have stinky breath? They just always got their lips tubed up. Like every time you look at them, you just sourpuss. That's because they smell their own breath, and they don't realize that they smell their breath stinks so bad because they're just not happy, and they're miserable and bitter, and that bitterness is churning all in their stomach, and they need to go to the bathroom and poop. They need to be like that lady and go to the bathroom somewhere and just let it out. Anyhow, have an amazing day. Thank you for being with me again. Share, like, subscribe. And if the good Lord is willing and the creek don't rise, I will see you tomorrow for the last part of the 4 agreements. You don't want to miss it. Love you guys. Bye.